About 28 centuries ago, people really admired wisdom. They called it sophos, and people admired it so much they were willing to pay for it. They would hire sophists to teach them all manner of things, particularly law and politics. So the sophists were traveling teachers and poets who roamed the countryside of Greece, and they taught anyone willing to pay to learn. As time went on, these sophists became the most effective lawyers and gave advice to those governing the new Athenian democracy. After a while, however, Socrates and his student Plato brought up the idea that the sophists were not all that wise. In fact, they argued, what they were good at was structuring their lessons to simply sound wise. In essence, Socrates and Plato said the sophists spoke so persuasively and so falsely that they could make listeners believe black was white. Also, Socrates and Plato objected to the fact that the sophists charged for their services, while they, being both wise and noble, dispensed their wisdom for free. They created such an uproar that even to this day the term sophist is an insult. You're a sophist. Not long after, Aristotle, a student of Plato, finally developed some rules for publicly dispensing wisdom and using language persuasively. He put down all his rules in a book which he called The Art of Rhetoric. In The Art of Rhetoric, Aristotle separated out the wisdom from the skill needed to dispense it. He wrote down rules for arguing, ones that required arguers to be ethical as well as persuasive. Aristotle laid out 3 appeals: logos, pathos, and ethos. He said the arguer should be logical, appeal to emotion, and build his trustworthiness with the audience by being ethical. He also listed 13 tricks or fallacies to avoid in arguing, and laid out the ethics he thought an arguer should have. Later, the Romans based their concepts on the Greeks. A Roman named Cicero came out with a text in the 1st century listing 5 canons of argument. 1. Invention, creating ways to be persuasive. 2. Arrangement, structuring an argument effectively. 3. Style, presenting an argument so as to appeal to emotions. 4. Memory, speaking extemporaneously. And 5. Delivery, effective presentation. Cicero had so much to say that he put it into 5 books. When you understand that the Romans were very eager to practice law and politics, you understand why they cared about public speaking and argument enough to need 5 books. Cicero's 5 canons influenced Europe for centuries. All students were taught grammar, logic, and rhetoric. After the Roman Empire fell, rhetoric existed only in the writing of letters and sermons. After a bit, people started preaching and rhetoric became oral again. During the Renaissance, however, oral rhetoric became very popular once more, that's Shakespeare's time, far beyond preaching. The art of rhetoric became essential to lawyers, politicians, priests, and writers. Anyone who wished to persuade a wide audience sought to train in it, and this continues today. Now we've skipped over more than 400 years of argument, but you have the basics. Today, unfortunately, the word rhetoric has taken on some of the negative connotation of sophistry. People think of it as eloquent speech designed to deceive. Especially when politicians are involved, calling something rhetoric is a pejorative. And that is the history of argument in just over 3 minutes.